Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion, plays the Binding of Isaac AFTERBIRTH Plus. We keep losing, winning. Hello, Ruka. 2TXP, R88Q. I apologize for my voice. It sounds fine, but it might get a little, it's been 84 years over the course of this episode. Still dealing with the refractory period of this illness, but beyond that, I got up at like 7 a.m. today to go to the walk-in clinic with my wife, who was suffering from the same symptoms that I had, like a week, 2 weeks ago. And I don't want to make this, because I'm very sympathetic of the fact that my wife is in pain. It's harder to watch somebody that you love go through something like this. Even, I'm not trying to say it's like a major illness, but it's always harder to watch someone you love be in pain than it is to be in pain yourself, because you know what you feel like and what you can do about it and whether or not you can tolerate it. But for somebody else, especially if you have feelings for them, it's hard, you just want to alleviate the pain. Simultaneously, though, we went to the doctor, and I want to point out that my anecdote from the doctor was 100% legitimate. The doctor was like, I think you have a cold and you should harden up. When we went to the doctor with Kate, the doctor was like, oh my god, you poor thing. Let me give you something to help you with the pain. She gave her, it was a different doctor, I want to be clear on this. So it's not just, I'm not trying to say that dudes have it so much harder. All I'm trying to say is there was a stark difference. She went into her supply cabinet and pulled out like a painkiller and gave it to her there on the spot. Wrote down instructions for over-the-counter medicine, as well as writing a prescription for some prescription medication that could help out. She did 2 laboratory tests, including a quick swab to see if she had strep throat, and then a more rigorous swab, I guess, to do a profile for other potential causes for her throat infection, and then sent us on our way after about an hour of coddling. Not in a bad way, though, like good coddling. My doctor's appointment was me sitting in a lobby for 45 minutes and then the doctor being like, I think you're just kind of a baby. I'm just by the way, I would not reverse the situations. I want my wife to get the maximum treatment that she can. I want her to feel better. I'm just saying, the prophecy to some extent has come true. Where when I went to the doctor, they treated me just a little bit differently than they treated her. Anyway, that's my anecdote for today. That's why I might sound even maybe like a little bit worse than yesterday. I think I'm gonna roll Book of Shadows. So I'm gonna pop Pandora's box. It's not an incredible value, but the value that we get is also we already got something out of that, I'm sure. That's why it was glowing, I think. I mean, you can't just put a bomb on the floor, right? Special crawl space sort of situation right there, along with the secret room. Again, there might be medical reason for that. It might not just be that the doctor has some, again, 2 different doctors. Might be a difference in the doctors as well. There might not be some kind of specific built-in clinical bias. I'm just saying. 8 days ago when I went to the doctor with the same symptoms, it would have been nice to get an, oh, you poor thing, instead of, I think you just got a cold. Anyway, unfortunately, it's one of those weird situations where, like, the test for strep throat came back negative, and you're like, man, it's good that it isn't strep, but simultaneously, it would be better if it was strep throat, because then you could give us antibiotics, and in, like, 2 days, you'd be feeling better. Instead, who knows? Could be like, a week and a half, 2 weeks. I don't know what we got, dude. Some kind of incredible, like, flu or something like that. It's insulting that it's happening in July. I mean, by the way, if you're like, I saw some comments, and these comments are lighthearted, I don't take offense to them, but they said, like, you don't have to tell the difference between NL's sick voice and his real voice, because if he's sick within the first 30 seconds of an Isaac video, he'll tell you. Rest assured, I would love to not bring those up as anecdotes, but unfortunately the only times I've like left the house recently has been to go to the walk-in clinic twice, the pharmacy, and then like when I came back, I got myself a McDonald's breakfast because I was like, you deserve this. You got up 2.5, 3 hours earlier than usual. You deserve this. And it was good. I did deserve it, to be honest with you. I'm having the patience of a saint right now. And you're gonna take this as being unsympathetic to my wife's illness? Not true at all. Highly sympathetic. Every half an hour, I go into the bedroom. I go, is there anything I can get you? You know, she says no, and I get her something anyway because, you know, you never want to just assume that someone doesn't want anything. They might just be being polite. And then she goes, I didn't ask for this. And I go, I know, but I thought, you know, you should eat something anyway. And she goes, I don't want it. But then I'm just going to leave this here. And then I come back in an hour and it's gone. So, you know, your boy's doing that Florence Nightingale routine. He's got it under control. By gone, I mean consumed, not thrown in the garbage can. I'm just also saying, why didn't the Canadian healthcare system take care of me? I actually, you know, if we're going to spin off this healthcare subject, I have two healthcare, not anecdotes, but questions that I want to get into. I guess one is more of a philosophical rambling, and the other one is more of a question. Somebody watching this is a pharmacy or a pharmacist or a pharmaceutical technician or something like that. By the way, why take the nail if you're going to stick with Book of Shadows? Great question. Let's double down on our idiocy here. If you're a pharmacy technician or a pharmacist, all I want to know, we go up to the pharmacist and we say, here's our prescription. Pharmacist goes, you got any allergies? You know, here's the possible side effects. Here's the complications. Here's how you should take it. Your prescription should be ready in about 20 minutes or so. I'm not trying to be entitled and say, why isn't it ready immediately? But I'm being real with you. Why isn't it ready, like, immediately? And I'm going to give you an anecdote here, and there's a very obvious counter-argument, and the counter-argument is fast food and medicine are two different things. But when I ordered my breakfast, I got a sausage McMuffin, a hash brown, and then a specially ordered coffee, because the first, you know, if you order the default, it comes with 1 cream, 1 sugar, and I said, no cream, no sugar, please. Order came out, 45 seconds, maybe 90 seconds. It wasn't very long. I hadn't even ticked down 1% on my phone's battery life while I was waiting. The pills, like, I'm assuming the Bayer Corporation is just sending you like a big old container of pills, right? And the piece of paper, you know, I have some scientific literacy to some extent. It basically says, put 10 of these pills in a bottle with a label on them. I believe, not even worth checking, but that's fine. I believe I'm missing something. There's probably something I don't understand about the complexity. Maybe there's oftentimes really complicated prescriptions, so you make everybody wait 20 minutes, because otherwise the people who had really complicated prescriptions would be like, hey, I came in before that person, why am I being served later? And, you know, the answer to that would obviously be, sir, this lady's sick, you're really frigged up. We gotta give you some horse tranquilizers or something like that. We just gotta take some stuff out of the wholesale bottle and put it into the personalized bottle for this young lady right here. I'm just curious. Again, not mad, but just curious. The other thing I was gonna say is, I'm always hesitant to bring up negative experiences with the Canadian healthcare system, because I'm very proud of our national Medicare system. You know, I don't want to necessarily get political, but it's one of the things Canadians are most proud of, is the fact that, you know, whether you're a billionaire or you're homeless, you know, when you walk into that hospital, everything's free and everybody's treated as equal. So if a billionaire walks in with a sore throat, he doesn't get to go in front of the person that had a drug overdose just because of the fact that he has money, you know? Now, mind you, there are private healthcare clinics in Canada where you can pay a membership fee and then get preferential access. And that's you know, at that point it actually becomes like a prickly issue to talk about, but I'm not gonna necessarily go down that road for those reasons. But I'm just saying, it's one of the great sources of Canadian pride, is that inside of the hospital, you know, you're all even. It's a privilege to wait with your fellow country people and be served. You know, because we're all human beings in the end. So it's always, you know, I don't want to complain about healthcare because it gives people that don't support this style of healthcare fodder. But simultaneously, I was like, wait, do we have... I don't really want to buy Trinket Smelter just to get the current trinket that we have, but it might be worth it. I think we were happier to take Potato Peeler and actually get an orbital and some damage. But I gotta be honest as well. So all the complaints that I brought up were not merely to undermine a system that I actually agree with. I'm just saying. People are also falsely under the impression that everything in Canada is free. Not true. The vast majority of it is free. But we did have to pay a little bit out of pocket for the fast strep throat analysis. Apparently not covered by the government. They'll cover the 24-hour test, but not the 5-minute test. And they were like, it'll be $20. And I was like, that is an extremely good price. And they don't cover prescriptions unless, I don't know, maybe if you're part of like an elderly group, or, you know, obviously if you have like group benefits or something like that. Now, I'm not trying to bore you with talk about insurance. I'm just saying, we pay for our dental care as well. We pay for our glasses, whether out of pocket or by paying insurance premiums, you know, to whatever company you work at. Not everything's free up here. I wish it were, though. Even though our effective tax rate would climb from 54% to about 70%. But anyway, disregard that, okay? Elon, once you get done with that Flint, Michigan water trouble, we're probably not next on the list, are we? I only bring it up for anecdotal purposes. I read an anecdote about American. By the way, the strep throat test being $20, not a problem whatsoever. However, I read a story about an American clinic where there were individually wrapped Hall's cough drops that were $20 each. That's why I'm never going to complain about a $25 test to see if my wife has like a easily treatable bacterial infection in her pharynx. Because I could be paying 1,000% markup for Hall's cough drops. But again, I'm not trying to drag that into it. Not trying to make this a Canada versus America thing. Just saying I'm very thankful that it's all free. Well, sort of. Except for the strep test. Anyway, those are my anecdotes because that's what I've been doing with my life for the past, like, little while. I'm over it. I had to explain to the doctor because when I woke up, you know, basically I woke up to my wife standing over me. I expected to get up. We had planned to go to the doctor, so I set my alarm earlier than I normally get up. And I was like, I'm going to call the doctor. We'll ask the doctor what the earliest we can get you in is. It'll probably be like an hour after we call, so I'll wake up at like 9 right when they open. And call them up. We'll probably get you in by 10. Went to bed under those pretenses. Woke up at 6:30 with her standing over me and was like, there's a clinic a little further away that opens at 8. Let's go to that. And I was like, okay. So when I was talking, because Kate can't really speak that well right now, I was talking to the doctor. And she's like, you sound sick too. And I'm like, well, I sort of am/was, but I actually just sound like this because I'm a piece of garbage and I normally don't get up for like 3 hours. So my voice is still asleep, if you'll excuse me, but I assure you, my brain is awake because I had to drive. It's always a nice little jolt of adrenaline. Dude, can I just say that there's nothing that makes me feel more like a... Dude, wait. No, with camo underwear, this gets amazing. No, wait, it's already amazing, isn't it? Please just let me into the room. I would like to go to it. There's nothing that makes me feel more like an adult that's living a good and adjusted life than being an adult who can drive in a major city center without getting into an accident. Like, when I was a kid, as mentioned many times, I grew up in a town. Wouldn't describe it as a small town, but I mean, it was a small city. It's like 130, 140,000 people. Driving there was not hard, but sometimes my parents would be like, hey, we're going to go to Toronto, or we're going to go to Montreal. But be careful, because the driving there is like really dangerous. Seeing my dad drive through downtown Toronto, navigating all the cyclists, bad drivers, 6 lanes of traffic in the same direction, people are cutting each other off. That was like when I realized my dad was a superhero, you know? Being on the highway to get there, navigating the traffic jams, not causing any road rage. There are many times in my life where I do not feel like I'm an adult who's well adjusted. Like, for example, when I normally wake up at 10 a.m. But one of the times I do feel well adjusted is when I remember... Oh, it didn't work. I've lived in this city and been driving for like 3 years. Never even really come close to getting into an accident. Like, driving in downtown Vancouver just feels like it's like driving on my home course. I know where the construction is. I know which routes you take to avoid the construction. I'm shoulder checking when I turn right because cyclists appear in your blind spot on the regular. They're quick, and they got the right of way most of the time. Either way, I'd rather yield the right of way than, you know, murder them most of the time. Crosses your mind occasionally, but it's probably not worth it. It's just that's the long and the short of it, right? So 1 out of every 2 rooms is extremely good right now. If we could get 9 volts, I'm going to be a very happy man. This is like actually a situation that I have only been able to make happen a couple of times. Pause button combined with really any orbital. Sack dagger would be better, but this is pretty good. It's nice that we have it, because our actual DPS is pretty horrible. Even still. Like 14 rate of fire. Very bad. We're not going to be on pace for boss rush as a result. If you wanted like an objective indication, this runs a little below average. 5.08 damage is not very good either. Some of our shots are doing more damage, and we do have Rotten Baby, but... really, like, Rotten Baby with 5.08 damage, nothing to write home about, in my opinion. More battery? Nope. This is like an ideal room. Because that room would be annoying as heck. Like, for example, this room is going to be, yep. Anyway. All I'm trying to say, I'm trying to make up for the fact that I'm anecdoteless, okay? All my anecdotes are about the pharmacy, is what it really comes down to. That's the life we've been living. Probably the worst damage I've taken in weeks, to just immediately step on the spikes for no reason. Again, I'm not trying to suggest that the pharmacist is doing a bad job, because every pharmacy I've ever been to in my entire life, you drop off the prescription and you wait. And I understand that not every ailment is just as easy. Like, surely you don't go to pharmacy school. And to be a pharmacist, to the best of my memory, you need to also have, like, a bachelor's level degree in something, and then, like, pass an entrance exam, and then go to school to get a bachelor's of science in pharmacology or something like that. So believe you me, you know, I respect institutionalized education. Many people would probably say even more than I should. I'm not suggesting they're untrained or they're bad at their jobs. Merely, I'm suggesting, this might be worth it. Merely, I'm suggesting that I don't understand. Surely it's not, it's gotta be at least an order of magnitude more complex than transferring pills from a bottle that was sent to you by GlaxoSmithKline into a bottle that you printed a label onto. Otherwise, I just feel like, you know, at the grocery store, there's like... And by the way, this is gonna make me sound like a total dick. And I accept that, because it might not be completely false. You're lucky. I'm going pause button. I genuinely, like at the grocery store, there's the express lane. You got a simple order. You've only got a couple of things in your cart. Welcome to the express lane, sir, madam. How was your day today? Don't even have time to answer the question. That'll be 7:13. How would you like to pay? Okay, see you next time. It's over. I very rarely get to use the express lane. Oftentimes when I'm at the grocery store, I'm not picking up a single item. The express lane is a very good thing, and I'll tell you why. You go to the grocery store at like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. like I do, end up behind some jerk like me. You know, I got a full cart of groceries. I don't know why I said it like that. Full cart of groceries. And I see you. You got like one bottle of Coke or something like that. I'll admit, okay, I've become a little hardened living this big city metropolitan lifestyle. Living in my small town existence, you see somebody like that come up behind you in the grocery store, you go, you go ahead, you just got that. And they say thank you. No one in Vancouver history has ever done that for me. And you might think that makes people here, and that's why I don't do it for them. I'm not going to be the change I want to see in the world. I'm not quite as pious as Gandhi. I'll be the first person to say it. I don't want to be the change I want to see in the world. I want to be the second person to change. It's like, if I see change in the world, follow it. Until then, match the behavior of the populace around you. It's not a big attitude to have, I'll admit. It's a little petty. But I'm not like Gandhi. I'm like one of Gandhi's first followers. I'm like, hey, this Gandhi guy is pretty nice. I'm going to follow what he's got going on. Yes, I know in 2018, everybody, including Gandhi, is problematic. He did sleep naked with young ladies as a way to, quote-unquote, overcome temptation, which just sounds like if anybody used that excuse in the modern era, you'd be like, you expect me to believe that? What year do you think it is? 1954? We can take plenty of time here to just hang back. But, you know, there's a reason he's one of the world leaders in civilization. That's all I'm trying to say. So that's why I'm kind of like, oh, you shouldn't have shot. But at the same time, you shouldn't have used pause button at all, because you're not going to use pause button here. These guys will explode if you hit him with your orbital. I think there should be an express lane to the pharmacy. It's like, you know, you got a simple prescription. Come here. You got a and I mean, somebody more in the know would have to consult on this, because clearly I'm just ignorant. I'm not trying to say that I'm not, or that this system would even work. I'm mostly just trying to provide a little fodder for conversation over the course of the next 15 to 40 minutes. You know how it is. Hello, Roka. I think there should be an express lane in, like, every capacity on planet Earth. I've said it before. At the airport, there's already, like, TSA pre-check, Nexus, you know, global certified traveler, whatever it's called, which is basically like, I've had my anus probed, and I am not a threat to your national security. Please let me get through security without spending, you know, 45 minutes in line. I have it. It's great. Not always respected. It depends on the airport you're departing from, but it's good. That was Ruka that just did that. My mistake there. Hey, you want to go, buddy? Or are you just getting in the... Oh, he's just getting in the chair. Hello. I think there should be another line at the airport, and I would not even be able to use this line, but I'm sympathetic. The line would be called, like, the no-frills line. It would be open only to single travelers. You can't go... I'm sorry, if there's two of you, you can't go in. If you think that's unfair, just rest assured that the person creating the system, me, is also saying, like, I'm not creating it for my own benefit, because I would only be able to use it, like, 5% of the time that I travel these days, okay? But when I was, you know, younger, and I traveled solo quite often, you realize the airport is not designed to be efficient for a young single traveler. And this is definitely, by the way, showing off my, you know, ableism and English-speaking privilege. I'll be the first to tell you that. But basically, what it used to be like is I would go to the airport, I would have a backpack, but I would have to, and I'd already check in online, but I'd have to get in this long line behind families that had, oh, I'm bringing 12 vintage guitars and 100 snowboards on my trip to Los Angeles. Also, I haven't purchased a ticket yet. Oh, you have to purchase a ticket to get on the airplane? I didn't realize that was compulsory. I thought it was more of like an optional thing. You know, you end up... Literally, the check-in process for a traveler like that is like, beep boop, enjoy your trip. You don't even call me Mr. or Sir. I don't want it. Just enjoy your trip. That's fine by me. Safe travels. The process is so much simpler. So I think there should be a line... And what it is it's like a badge. You turn 18, you get the badge. I should have not shot there. As long as you travel in solo, just flash the badge on your passport. You get to go into the expedited express line for no-frills travelers that have never asked to speak to somebody's manager. Now, you gotta be on your best behavior, because if you have an interaction where you go to get on the airplane and you're like, oh, I forgot my passport, is that necessary? I'm sorry to tell you, your badge gets revoked. That's right, it gets revoked for one mistake. You know why? Because the whole pretense of the line is that there's no special cases. If you've ever walked up to a gate agent when you're in Zone 3 and your boarding pass says Zone 3, they called Zone 1 for boarding, and then they go, oh, I'm sorry, sir, we're boarding Zone 1, and you're in Zone 3. I'm again sorry to inform you, your badge gets revoked. But I was in the bathroom. That's fine. You can go to the bathroom. I'm just telling you, for the rest of your life, you have lost the privilege to be in the express line. Because the express line relies on there being no mistakes. Now, I'm not saying that I would have been in the express line forever. I've made mistakes at airports. All I'm trying to say is that it would incentivize good behavior at the airport. And I think, because my personal opinion, obviously tainted by my own experience, is that like 80% of the time spent at airports is caused by like 5% of the people. People who have flown like one time in their entire life, and they just walk up to the gate agent and go, excuse me, I've seen many Hollywood movies, and I was inquiring about the possibility of me upgrading the first class for free despite not being in the frequent flyer program. And the gate agent is just like, can you sit down, please? Like, we gotta make sure 500 suitcases are on this airplane. Can you relax, please? Just go sit in your chair. It's gonna be fine. We'll be in Honolulu in 2 hours, alright? I'm exiting the age where I would be prime express lane material. I'm just saying. Nowadays, I've become, it might sound wrong. You wanna leave, Ruka? Goodbye, my friend. It might sound wrong, but I've become softer in my old age. When I was 20, I would have been, it's the same argument. It's like, there should never be a baby on an airplane. They should found their own airline just for babies. You know what the irony is that if you ever said that, at the present moment, you are the real baby. I'm sorry to tell you, I was a baby for a while. That's the next generation of humanity, dude. They're mildly inconveniencing you. Get over it. As I've gotten older, my parents have gotten older too. They're not old yet, but they're like, starting to get up there. And I'm starting to have a lot more sympathy for young families with young children, for example, and also the elderly. Because I'm like, one day, that might be me, taking my parents through the airport, and, my mom is like, oh, like, she hands over, like, her social insurance card or something to get on the airplane, and they're like, ma'am, we can steal your identity with that. Please don't give us that. So I'm more cognizant of that. Maybe one day I'll be a snowboarder. I'll be one of those people you see with the lug. I deserve to die. I deserve to die on this run, but also simultaneously, it was horrible. I'm in a genuine slump, dude. You know what we do when we come back? Forgotten Run. Get us back on the horse. For now, though, I apologize for my ignorant opinions. If you enjoyed it, click the like button. It helps a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I will see you next time.